Well, most of us have pushed the lawnmower off to the corner of the garage to never think about it again until this summer. But now is an excellent time to do a little bit of maintenance that will help prolong the life of your lawnmower. The first thing that you want to do is make sure that you pull off the wire from the spark plug so that you won't have any injuries or safety problems while you're working on it. While you're at it, go ahead and remove the spark plug. Make sure it's not corroded. If it has, use a brush to try to clean it up. If you haven't replaced it in a while, just go ahead and replace it because they're fairly inexpensive. Probably the number one cause of the lawnmower not starting this summer is going to be from people leaving gasoline in the tank. So we have some options in doing our tank and making sure it's cleaned out. One of them is to use a suction bulb to remove the gasoline from the tank and just put it back inside one of our gas storage tanks. After you've emptied it out, turn the lawnmower on to make sure that you've sucked all of the gasoline or burned all of it up that's inside the fuel lines as well, which is another option that you could just leave the gas or the lawnmower running to reduce all the gas out of it that way. But for those of you who don't want to mess with that, there are some new products on the market that are called gasoline stabilizers that you mix in with the gasoline, agitate it up, run the mower again to make sure it gets in the fuel lines, and you can actually leave the gasoline in the tank throughout the winter season. Now, on a Briggs & Stratton engine, there's been a gas tank recall, and that's what we happen to have here. And it's in some of the newer models, and if you have a Briggs & Stratton and you just purchased it recently, look at your model number. If the first numbers are 1 and 2, contact your service dealer because there's a free of charge repair or recall on the gas tank because they've been leaking. So there are some problems there. So again, that's a Briggs & Stratton engine. So check that out and make sure you're okay there. Next thing you'd want to do would be to change the oil. And while I lift this up here so you can get an idea of where that oil plug is underneath, you want to make sure that you clean around that real well before you remove it to drain it. And if you don't have a nice oil tank or some kind of a drainage thing, a nice little idea is to just get some kind of a container like this that's flat, cut a hole in one side of it, and then you can place it underneath as you raise it up on blocks or wood so that oil will drain in there. Then take that to an automobile service department or a mechanic where they've got an oil recycling and just leave that oil with them where they can recycle it. You never want to drain it on the ground as well as the gasoline. Some other things would be just to lubricate any of the parts. And if you have a tendency to run into those trees and shrubs, another nice thing is use some of your old water hose and put your little bumper on the front, and that'll help protect those trees and shrubs.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.